I'm at 160 South Union Road in Dayton, Ohio. Doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, anything that may be of concern to the buyer. The access point here is a small clean out. Looks like about a 2-inch really. Right next to the house there. That is the front of the house. You see we're about halfway back. Here is the clean out. This is going straight out. This is a clay clean out, and it does have a as you can see, this is called a sweep, and so it forces you to go one direction, which is out, but the bathroom is right on the other side of this wall, so it's not like you're really missing a whole lot. I'm not really sure if this is on city sewer or septic. There's a little bit of tree roots there right as we get into the first connection. That's pretty common for old clay lines like this to have some root intrusion. It's usually due because they have the pipe sections are only about 3 feet long, and so there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of connections, as you can see. And so far this looks like it's these are all very, very minor, but it is something that you will have to look for maintenance. A lot of times I recommend a chemical treatment like Root X or something like that to put through here. It looks like these have been cleaned previously, just based off the way those broke off. So this will probably, I would want to treat it with a chemical at least once a year, and then it's usually what they call for on the bottle. And then from there you may want to have it checked after 5 years or so, and just to be sure that the roots are staying down, and see if you may need a cleaning performed periodically, maybe every few years or so, or maybe the chemical treatment will be good enough to keep everything at bay. A little bit of a belly here. That camera lens is only about a ½ an inch off the bottom of the pipe, so that is not a big concern there. That's just a little bit of standing water. We'll probably have more than one of those, especially in a line this old. The good thing is there's no solid buildup or anything in there that would cause any kind of backup. Based off of what I'm seeing with the roots here, they are getting in, sitting along there, but I am going to recommend at least a chemical treatment on a regular basis. Now, it did look like this was going out to the rear, and so I don't know if this is city sewer or septic. When it goes out to the rear like that, it's more likely that it is septic, but not always. It's like I'm pushing through some stuff here, and I'm not sure. It's like I may be in PVC. So what I may have to do is try to put a standoff on this, but with my limited access here, as far as the clean out is concerned, I'm not really sure what I can get in here to be able to do that, because we're really not able to see much through all this. I'm just pushing through water now. I may find a backup that is keeping this from draining, but it did come out of it for a second when we were back in clay, so going to keep pushing as long as I can, and then I'll have to go locate, see if we can find this. I mean, pretty soon I'm going to run out of stick here. Looks like I might be pushing through something here. I had a little bit of restriction there, and I am out of stick already. And so I'm going to have to go try to find this and see if we can locate some other access point along the way. But because I'm at 150 feet, normally there should be other access points along the way that would allow for us to make a move and inspect more pipe. So I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to go locate exactly where this part is and how far I've gotten, and then we'll look along that path to see if we can find another cleanout. Okay, so I have done a few things. I tried to trace this exact spot. This line actually goes over. I kind of traced it out to show the path of the line. It goes out, turns towards the rear, but goes over right in that tree line, brush line area. And it follows underneath it, and I even tried to market some of it back there in the tree line. And there's a bunch of debris, yard debris and stuff that probably the previous homeowner has dumped in those areas. There's basically no access to that area. I did mark what I could to show where it is, but I'm out 150 feet, and there should be another clean out between here and there, but there's no way for me to find it. Due to the fact that there's multiple things here. There's the fact that you have the tree line, which it doesn't allow me to get back in there and really search for anything that's buried, and the fact that it was underwater for a good portion of the inspection. And so I'm going to pull back, and we'll see what we see on the way back, but I'm going to pull back, and I'm going to try to make another pass and try to put a standoff on the front of the camera so that we hopefully can get some sort of visual on where there might be another clean out. But I mean, pretty much I'm underwater, at that 144 foot mark, all the way back to, I think it was roughly like 60 feet. I mean, it was a long way. And so I would be, all this stuff full is, not an ideal situation. You have no way of telling how deep this is, if the whole pipe is sunk and is full of solids. I did have a little bit of restriction when I got out to about 130 feet earlier. I didn't have much resistance pulling back, but based on where it is, this line could have a lot of roots. You can see flashes here at 116 feet. That's a good sign to at least know that there's open water or open pipe there. And so maybe trying to get some standoff on the camera to get the lens a little higher might help. But you can see it looks like grease covered clay. There's still that white layer, which means that's kind of how high this is. So this line may have backed up, and it may have been cleaned recently due to roots. I mean, it was roughly out like 95 feet before I started seeing a little bit. And so pushing out against it is worse than pulling back as far as pushing stuff in front of the lens, but see, there's multiple. These are minor bellies, at least you can see out of it. I'm just worried that 100 foot mark I think that based off of where I am, I think I have no idea where the sewer mains are. Going to the rear, and you're probably at least another 100 feet from a main. But again, I have no way of knowing where that would be. You see something here? should be, it's usually clean outs about every 100 feet or so, but in this case it doesn't look like it, or I can't see it because I was underwater. But I also have no way of finding it back there due to the fact that all the ground cover and the dumping that's gone on along the path of the line. Because like I said, I did locate the entire line to try to walk it and see if I could find another clean out, but I was unable to do so because of all the ground cover, because it is back in that tree line. So I'm going to throw a few flags down. I painted some green paint, but it is raining, so I will put a few flags in so at least, you know, somebody could tell exactly where the path of the line goes. So I'm going to pause the video here. I'm going to go get an attachment for the camera and then see if we can get out a little bit further, or excuse me, get a little more information, get a little higher so we can see those spots that were just barely underwater. Okay, we've got a small standoff on this. We hope this is enough to at least get a better look at what's going on here. But yeah, a big standoff will not fit down through this small access. So I'm gonna try to go on through again. This is only going to go out about 150 feet, and in that 150 feet there were a couple bellies, and hopefully we'll be able to see a little better now. We know that there's root intrusion, so that will have to be taken care of. But I actually talked to a neighbor that said that they had most likely, or that they think that they ran this line straight back all the way along that tree line, and then between the two houses behind this house, and then out to the street to tie this tap in, which would have been a pretty major expense at the time instead of just putting a septic tank in. And so this sewer line runs a long way. And so mostly we should be above the water so that we can inspect this. And we know we have multiple spots of root intrusion. We were hoping to find another access point along the route. So far, based off, you can see how much this is, I am pushing this stuff up in front of the camera. This is not good. From about 50 feet. Hopefully we'll be able to see better on the way back. Like I said, we won't be pushing it up in front of the camera lens. So we'll just keep pushing. But I'm sure this is a very long and very flat sewer line. To be able to go that far to tie into a gravity main is a very long run. And normally you would have clean outs every 75 to 100 foot. And in this situation I haven't seen any, so I don't know. Said hopefully as we get back, this is a spot right here that I was having trouble getting through before. 135 feet. And there, I broke through it. I think there's a bunch of root intrusion at about 135. And we are out of stick. So it says 145, but it counts by rotation of the drum. There's 150 feet on here. And so we're hoping that we can see more on the way back, because I think what the main problem here is that you have a basically you don't have any other access, and this line is very long. You will have to, I'm sure it will have to be cleaned on a regular basis and maintained as far as the roots are concerned. But you would want to have another access point also, so that you could look at this, because it was about 135 feet that I did have some restriction on, which could, you can see, man, I wish I could see, it's holding me up. Maybe if I do it quickly I can get a little jump and a little split on the camera and be able to see above that water line. We know it flashes, but I think they just ran some water in there, which doesn't help me one bit. So I'm going to try to look as we pull back. And we know that this line is flat and it's holding water for a pretty long distance, from about 144 back, I mean all the way to like 120. I mean it's barely below this lens. It looks like it's flowing. Now you can see there's a large amount of roots there. So what you may have is just a large amount of roots that are blocking the line. If we can see the rest of the way back, we might be lucky enough to see another clean out. But we had one for a second, but we don't. Another large root ball. Okay, I think that might be, that's either a break with roots or that is a clean out. Right about here. It looks like an opening. I can see if I can locate this spot real quick. See if that's a spot, but I may not even be able to get to it. So I'm going to pause the video for a second and we're going to locate this. Alright, so that spot has been marked. It's about 5 foot deep, and based off of the entrance, it's either coming in at the side, which very well could be coming in just off to the side, and it could be the other, maybe the house next door comes into it, or this is a clean out. I was able to mark it. But that house is vacant, and so there's no real way for us to go over there and even try to test it. Either way, at 105 feet, 106 feet, there's either a clean out, but it should be checked, possibly dug up, to see if it is a clean out. It is about 5 feet deep to the invert, which is the inside bottom, so 4 foot 8 maybe to the top of the pipe. So I mean, the biggest problem with this is just lack of access and lack of visibility. So mainly, excuse me, just kind of thinking about what we're seeing here, that I would say there's a big enough belly from about 120 to about, you know, the 144 mark all the way. And we don't know what's all in there. This could be a blockage. It could just be holding water due to more roots downstream, because 150 feet. You do have, obviously, they can get a lot of snake down there at least 200 feet or 300 feet, as many pieces as they want to attach. Just gets harder on the machine, harder to go. But I think that this line, I think this should be referred to a licensed plumber as far as possibly digging up that clean out or installing one at that point. Also, you could try to contact the sewer department and see if they have any knowledge of where this line runs or where it connects, just due to the abnormalities of it. It is a pretty strange setup for a lateral to run that far. And the problem is that people have been dumping stuff in that tree line, and so there's no real access to that spot. Like I marked where this is, but there's a bunch of stuff that has been put on top. So I mean, the good news is, for about the first 100 feet, we can see the belly does start around, and the inability to see starts at about 130 feet and goes out to that 144 to where I can't go any further. And there's just some buildup in this line here, as you can see, that I'm dragging stuff or something. This should not be covered. You can see I'm pulling something back on top that's attached to the camera, like a piece of toilet paper or something, or a wet wipe most likely. So I'm trying to get it off of the camera, but it does not want to go. There's root intrusion for the entire length at different spots, but pretty much there's some root intrusion for the entire length of what I was able to inspect, which is 150 feet. Okay, and there we are back out again. So, definitely not an ideal situation here. I mean, it seems to be functioning, at least for that 150 feet, at least flowing, but between 130 and 150 feet, it seems like it's either a very low belly or with more than 2 inches of water, and that may be a 4-inch pipe, maybe a 3. With it only having one bathroom and the length of run, but the main 130 to 144 feet, like I mentioned, 150 feet is full of water. I'm unable to see what's going on. I have some resistance in that area. I do believe it's roots, but I can't tell because I can't see. And then at 106 feet, there does look to be an access, or there is a connection there, meaning it could be a clean out, or it could be a connection possibly from the house next door. I don't believe that is the case, just due to the diameter of the pipe. It looks rather small, but you know, obviously I wasn't here when they did it. So I marked that with some paint, and I will mark it with a flag that'll say clean out ? And a depth of about 5 foot, 5'1", and that will be and that'll be where someone may want to try to dig, because you would have to take out some brush and also go through some some other like yard waste and stuff like that has been piled up in the same area, mulch and other stuff. So you would need to clear that and check around to try to dig for that clean out to get access. And I would recommend that a licensed plumber take a look at this and possibly also talk to the sewer department to try to find out if they have any information on where this runs and where they take over responsibility for repairs, if at all, just to try to find out if they have records on where this runs and if the other house ties in or if anything else comes into this line and whereabouts the sewer main is, because I believe it goes all the way down, runs in between the two houses behind us. The tree line kind of goes right in between two houses, and then it may go all the way out and tie into that back street. So there's a lot to you have a lot to find out, basically, because you want to make sure that this is in good shape and there's really no access beyond that, beyond this clean out right now. These should have been left open, and based off the condition of the line with the roots, you would think that this would have been cleaned on a regular basis, and so you would want to do that and make sure that this is all clear before you go any further. But this will, a lot of this will be a short synopsis of this will be in my report. And so that'll end the inspection at 160 South Union Road in Dayton, Ohio.